Welcome to Two Queens and Crystal Things, the podcast where we are on some manifest your life, shift your mind, and raise the consciousness type of shit.
It's time.
I am Christy.
And I am Mia, and you can consider us your spiritual girlfriends for the next hour. Hey, boo.
Cheers.
So, last week,
okay,
please drink to that. I got this wine, this cab today that I specifically for you.
So I'm a red wine drinker. What is this?
Mm-hmm.
This is 1,000 Stories.
Mm-hmm.
It's a Cabernet. It's a cab. Sorry, we're getting
domestic. Okay, sorry. Anyway, last week, we talked about and discussed like a kind of like a what if, but what if, but the spiritual version. We address some of the questions, that we get from clients and friends when they're struggling to make sense of their divinity. Sometimes it's just some of these concepts, we're just like, wait, what? I'm God. Mm-hmm. How does that work? So the idea that we are spiritual beings having a human experience can be, a pretty difficult concept to grasp. So we used like the what if to explore a little deeper into that discussion, what it might look like. So we went into, okay, that's hard to imagine, but let's just go down the rabbit hole. What if it's true?
Yeah, what if?
What if I really am a spiritual being having a human experience?
Man.
Because seriously.
Because you are, but
that means
what if?
Right, but what if?
So, that means that I have to get rid of all of my limiting beliefs. Like I am the creator of my life.
Exactly. Yes. So if you haven't had a chance to listen to it, check it out. I'm sure you guys have some what if questions too. So Chrissy, what are we pontificating on today?
Okay, so today, yes. Today's episode, this was actually a question. It was born out of a question to the queens.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know who it was. I don't think we need to name names, but basically the question was, how do I know if what I hear is my ego self or my higher self? And so we thought that this would actually be a really good discussion to talk about it, because we talk about the ego a lot. There's the spiritual ego, and then there's also like
somebody we would call, overconfident,
all into himself.
Yes, we talking about your identity, your spiritual ego, that ego.
We're talking about that ego. So, but we thought this would be a great episode to talk about it. So let's get into it. Okay, so for those of you that don't know the difference, like for me, I need definitions, I need terms. So for the ego is where our conscious minds, someone actually said this, and what do you think about this, Mia? So they were saying that the ego is where the conscious mind meets our subconscious. It's like that border.
Yes, it's like the link. I can see that.
Okay. So basically the ego is an aspect of ourselves based on our identity and like who we are, who we believe ourselves to be, our values, our belief systems. Basically our ego gives us a sense of security and it can create limits on ourselves. And so that's one of the things that the ego is limiting. The ego is often driven by fear-based beliefs and how we've been conditioned in this world. So think of like the ego that we have now as the ego that came from all of the experiences that we had as a child. So like think about, we can go into like what ego is and then what the higher self is. We can give you some examples of that. To the higher self, do you want to talk about that, or you want me to?
Okay, yeah. So your higher self in this conversation is basically it's that energy and aspect of yourself that connects you to your highest potential.
Yeah.
The wise self and our connection to our higher self is always present. But when we're vibrating, when our vibration is high, it will be easier to connect with your higher self to reach your higher potential. We can create and co-create with our higher self. Like our highest self is not limiting. We know that we're limitless. So what Christy said, I am a mom. I am a woman. That's like an ego identifier.
Yep.
But like your higher self would be, I am a mom, and I have unconditional love and understanding. It's just, that's kind of, the role that I'm playing, but I have so many other things that come with it. I understand it's an aspect of myself.
Yep.
So, yeah. But, so this question, though, was, why are we talking about this, though? So, the question is, when you are starting to, to listen to yourself more and be more open to following your intuition, this is a really good question. Like, how do I know that this is my higher self not talking to me, or this is my ego trying to trick me
right.
and bring me back to a place that I've already passed? So the question is good, because sometimes I think, I would say oftentimes we don't make moves about things because we're unsure of the source of the messaging. So I get the question. So how do I know if I'm talking to my ego or if I'm having a conversation with my higher self? So I understand the question. I have definitely had these moments where I'm just like, okay, wait a minute, hold on. Especially in the beginning.
Yeah.
Especially in the beginning.
Your ego, yeah.
Because you think about it, that's like, your ego is your will to survive. So you're trying to kill a piece of me to come to another place. It's going to do everything it can to stay alive.
Yep.
So let's look at some examples. Let's go through like some of like your ego versus your higher self.
Yeah. So, and this is helpful for me too, because I'm like, I need to have something to compare against. So ego is about you first over everyone. It's a disconnection from the oneness.
Yes.
Whereas the higher self always seeks balance and the good of all, which is the ultimate win-win.
And I think honestly, if you break it down to like ego is about self, higher self is about all.
Yes, that's a great way to put it.
Right, you know what I mean? It's just, and I really want us to be careful, make sure you break this down right, because we will often say, take care of you first, right? To self-care and self-love. So I want to make sure there's a differentiation here. When you're making decisions based on, in order for me to win, somebody has to lose, that's an egotistical type of thought. Like, I mean, I'm an athlete. Like, you win or not. That's your ego speaking. Your higher self it's just like, I'm appreciative for the experience and me be able to train my body to do this, and we're all doing this together. There is no win or loss. You know what I mean? It's a different type of thinking. But in order to, here's one way to look at it. In order to be able to connect with your higher self, there's a certain amount of love that you have to have for self, because that love is what allows you to see that you have the divinity in you. So there is some selfishness there, but it is selfishness in order to get you to a point where you understand your connection to the all.
Yeah.
Selfishness for oneness, but it's not really. It's
not
selfishness,
really selfish. Yeah.
Because it's like, I have not taken care of my spirit, and I have not taken care of my soul, and I just got it out here just bouncing around. I need to pull that back in and take care of it, because being in that same position, I'm putting other people in harm's way. So it's like, let me pull this back, clean this up, and then send it back out into the world. You got to keep your spirit clean for the folks.
Clean for the folks. No, that makes sense.
So what's another example?
Another example is the ego judges.
Mm-hmm.
The higher self seeks to understand, which is so true. So true.
Well, think about it. The ego is, remember, self. So.
Yeah.
I'm making a judgment based on how I see myself. So if I see something that is not in line with how I see myself, that gives me the power, ego says, to judge that. And I get to make a place of value on it. And do you understand, as opposed to seeing like, Well, I've never seen, because remember, when you're thinking about the oneness, that we are all cut from the same cloth, literally, when you see something, instead of judging it, when you are understanding of your higher self, that's interesting. I haven't seen myself in that manifestation. I want to understand why would I am, want to experience in that. It's seeking to understand, because even though that looks like some clown ass sugar and snap to me, I know that there's divinity in there.
Yeah.
And it's
true.
So to answer, because I do want to always bring it back to the question, in terms of how do you know when you find yourself in a situation where you're having to where you are being judgmental. That's your ego talking.
Yeah.
When you find yourself in a position, especially when you're going through your spiritual journey, you're going to try out a lot of different things, and there's a lot of ways and religions and cultures that you will be attracted to. When you're judging, when you are starting to judge something, that's your ego. When your higher self, when you start seeing yourself become more curious, and just like, why do they think that?
Right.
Well, that's your higher self. And it's okay to get to a place where you're like, this just doesn't align with me, and still be connected to your higher self, as opposed to saying, where your ego would say, oh, that's stupid.
Yeah, that's dumb.
That's dumb. That's your ego, because you're making a judgment. And it's just like, oh, this just doesn't align with where I am in my life at this moment.
And that's okay.
And that's okay. So that's one way to see how, the balance, whether or not you're speaking to your ego or your higher self.
That's good. Another one is, okay, so this was really interesting to think about. The ego likes the comfort zone, whereas the higher self is open to exploring the unknown. So again, just in a simple way, the ego creates limitations.
Well,
the higher
think about
self
it.
does not.
For humans, and there's a lot of people that think this, and if you fall in this group, that's cool, but I'm just going to say it. There are people who truly believe that there are no other intelligent beings out in this world.
Yep.
That is that is very ego-driven.
Right.
That is the epitome of ego. It's because for me to accept that means that that's not anything that I've ever, and I like this. This feels good. Me thinking I'm the all-intelligent being. I like this. But now you're asking me to explore the unknown. And what if everything that I believe to be true is not true? Oh, no, I'm not doing that. I'll just stay here. Even though I know it's something that's out there.
There are a lot of people, yes.
That's ego.
Which is why they're like, oh, no, I think I'm better off not knowing the truth than to know the truth. I'm the type of person, I need to know the truth.
People are really like that.
They are.
They really don't want to know.
And that's okay.
And I respect that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I understand, and I'm able to tap into my higher self and not necessarily judge it, because I really do understand.
I do too.
It feels very good to know what I know, and even if it's painful, sometimes I'd rather stay in the comfort, because at least I know what to expect. I don't know what's out there.
That part.
I don't want to progress. I don't know what's out there. So yeah,
it's uncomfortable. It doesn't feel good. I don't like trying something new. I don't like having to learn something new. I like being able to know everything. I don't want to have to relearn stuff. I mean, there are so many.
I remember I'm doing this because that we're in the age where we actually, it's so funny. This is why our generation is messed up. The Gen X is messed up because we were actually a part of the group that actually went from typewriters to word processors to so we've had we were in a position where we were forced, in order to move forward, to know anything, to be a part of anything, we had to progress. But I do remember going through this time, I did not want to learn something. I'm just like, I don't want to learn how to do it. I remember even being a young adult when Mac computers came out. Oh my God! I have to learn how to work this one too. You know what I mean? I remember all of this stuff, even the internet.
Oh yeah, I remember walking away and coming back
Like, this is stupid. You know, I'm very, very egotistical because I was comfortable.
Yeah. And that's the same truth for a lot of people.
Yeah. Okay. Ooh. Here's another one. The ego worries, and your higher self acknowledges and trusts in the process. Okay? And surrenders.
Woo.
The ego worries, the higher self surrenders because it has faith and trust and belief in the process.
Right.
Now, I think this is a good one because so much, I would say, of my, I'm air quoting, growth spiritually has come when I have released and let go of the process. Yeah. When I stopped expecting a certain outcome, like, well, I did this, so this should be coming. That's when I really started getting to the goods of what's happening. When your ego has expectations, okay? Your ego makes you, when you start asking yourself, am I doing this right? That's your ego. It's in your spiritual journey, I'm telling you. Anytime you start asking yourself, and we all do this, like, especially if it's something that you're doing for the first time, if it could be as simple as putting an altar together. Am I doing this right? What if I'm doing it wrong? That's ego.
Yep.
Allow your spiritual, and you know, there's many places to go to online, thanks to this lovely internet, to see, you know, how people set up altars and do things. You can find it, but also it's be guided by your spirit. What is your intention behind it? Make that reflect on why you're doing this. Right. Now, is there a right way to do this? And when you start worrying about those, that's all ego.
That's true.
So if you're even asking the question, so
I tell people all the time, there is no right or wrong.
No, it's so true.
You just have to follow your heart.
Which honestly, which is honestly the way I believe spirituality is as a whole, as opposed to religion. And I think that makes it so easy to feel one of the reasons that religion makes it easy for people to feel disconnected from sources, because they're always thinking about following the rules. Yeah. And if I broke one of these commandments, if I broke one of these rules, that means that I'm not of God, and they already told me this, the sin. So now you have to go about trying to figure out how to make believe what you didn't happen, because then you have no reason. You know what I mean? Like, there's so much that you have to do to yourself, whereas spirituality is, I grew. That's some growth. Like, man, I have to forgive myself on the bullshit that I pulled and what I did, but understanding one action does not define who I am, and that there is still always time for me to learn a new version of myself. Exactly. I think that's spirituality.
So it's funny that you said that, because there's this one woman who was in spirituality, and now she's a Christian, and she's talking about, those people who are in spirituality, there are no rules. It's just a free-for-all.
Doreen Virtue. Is that who you're talking about?
No, someone else.
It's another one?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, she was, and it just like happened in the last couple months, and so now she's everything.
Some people like process and rules. But now here's the thing, and a lot of, depending on the culture, there are a lot of rituals. It's like, because I don't necessarily, like, it's to me, it's more, it's less of a rule. If you don't do this, you're going to die, and you're never going to go to heaven. It's more of, I'm giving you the recipe to cook this gumbo. Yeah. If you're trying to produce the same type of gumbo I cooked, you're going to do it the way that I did. And I think that's more, or some of the rituals, like if you're trying to call in this energy, this is the recipe to cook that. Yeah. And I think that is more of that, as opposed to a rule that if you break, that it's over for you. Like, you know?
Yeah. For me, it's all intention. Like, what is your intention behind this? And as long as your intention is pure, then everything doesn't have to be 100% perfect. I mean, perfect doesn't exist. So, and we kind of talked about this too. So the ego likes to know and feels comfort in knowing, you know, and all of that comes from those fear-based beliefs that have been programmed into us. And then the higher self is all about creativity and exploring the unknown. Like, it's exciting, you know, having that different perspective I mean, I can feel this, like, for sure.
I think oftentimes,
but it's hard. I have to tell you,
no,
it's
it's
hard.
so like, no, seriously. Like, when I say it's so difficult, and you want to know when. This is one of the ones right here. Every time.
And how?
When? How? When is it gonna happen? When? And it's just like, it's so.
That's hard.
And so you gotta be like, you know, as healers and as energy and light healers, you want to be careful not to send clients off into a when, here, how mission, because they know because they know what, you know, what's coming to them or what's for them, and then they take their life off track.
Yeah.
Because that's supposed to give you spiritual validation, because nobody's telling you something you don't already know. This is just spiritual validation for you to be able to have that faith. Like, oh, I can release the worry of that because I know what's coming my way. But sometimes people would take, like, oh, I know what's going to come my way. But now, okay, now I need to know when and how. Am I doing it wrong? What if I did this? And I thought it was him when I saw, I mean, like, now you... Yeah. And you're missing all the pieces in between.
Because I noticed once you know what I mean? Once you release that connection and you don't have attachment to it anymore, that's when it comes.
And that is such a difficult concept for your ego, right. Especially.
Like, huh? What?
Right? It just.
I don't understand.
It doesn't, because this is our ego. Our ego can't understand that. It's just like that. What you're saying, lady, does not make sense, but it makes all the sense in the world. Your higher self understands, like, oh, so you're trying to tell me what's for me is for me, and so I can just really, I don't even have to worry about that. Oh, well, come on then. Well, shoot, what we doing today, y'all? Because any day, any moment, but then you know, this is why you have to learn how to release, because then you always become about the next moment and not in the moment where you are. Like, if I said to you, Christy, I know for a fact that you're going to be a multimillionaire. Like, I know this. And you're like, this is what I've been thinking too. Like, I felt like that. Like, okay, cool. Now, and when your ego comes in, it's like, okay, yes, what I got to do? When, what, you know what I mean? Like, when is it? Is it, girl, because I'm trying to buy another house. So can I get, you know what I mean? That's your ego working. Whereas your higher self allows you to be in the moment. Like, man, I just start receiving it. Like, damn, I'm a multi-millionaire. And allowing yourself to be in that moment. So when you don't allow yourself in your journey to be in the moment, you get to the point where you set yourself up where you're never able to, even when you get everything that you worked so hard for and you manifested, if you don't allow yourself to be in the moment, you don't even realize what you did. You literally, like, have no idea what you did, because now it's like, well, now I gotta go get this, and now I gotta go get this, and now it's lost. Now we back. That now your ego has taken back over this.
I'm working on being in the present, y'all. I really am. It's hard. Because I like to know. I like to know what's around the corner.
But you do know what's around the corner. That's the thing I always say. Like, think about it. You do know what's around the corner because you wrote this. You know good and damn well what's around the corner. What you want to know is, when is it going to happen? And for me, it's like, think about it, y'all. But you know it's coming.
Yeah.
Like, I know it is. So that to me, that allows me to be more patient, because I don't want to fuck it up when it comes. So I need to make sure I'm picking up all my lessons and blessings on the way. But like, oh, I am going to need that spirit when I get to level 10. Thank you. Oh, you're right. I am going to need to learn how to speak, Meowanese and cat language. Thank you. Like, you picking up all the skills, but it's okay because you know where what's next. Yeah. I know that it is. I know. No.
Yes.
So, anywho,
there goes that.
Oh yes. Okay. So,
surrendering.
Back to yes, true that. Let's do. Okay, I like this one. We're gonna do ego is your past or future. Your higher self is being in the now. So just like we were just talking about, you're never in the moment. Not you. Yeah. I'm saying. But
you.
So many of us, right, no, are never in the moment. We're always like, what coulda, shoulda, woulda, or what's going to happen. That's all ego. And I do actually want to point out though that we need our ego, but we'll get to that in a minute. But this is what we'll call, like, just how we talk about an unbalanced chakra.
Yep.
This is like the unbalanced ego, and when we allow it to completely take over, it's a
balance with everything.
Yin and a yang.
Exactly.
Same thing.
Yeah, it's a balance with everything. You gotta embrace.
You can't
the good and the bad.
Exactly. So
both.
there are places where your ego needs is like, okay, this is. Oh, it's my turn. I'm up on the mic. Got it. Run.
Don't get me started.
Let me see. So wait, hold on. I had another one. River. Yeah, these cats. So would you say that you are more? Is there okay? No, back that up. Can you tell when you're in the moment whether or not you are listening to your ego or to your higher self?
When I'm speaking to my higher self, yes. But when I'm speaking to my ego, it takes me a moment
to realize
that it's my ego.
Oh, so when you know you can feel like, okay, me and her we jamming right now.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
But with my ego, I was like, wait, why did that bother you? Or why did you say that? Or why would you feel that way?
Interesting.
But not in that moment. Like, it takes.
No, I get that, and I actually think I agree with that.
It's like,
I really think I agree with that.
What happened?
I'll have those moments where I'm like, I know I'm in it. It's awesome sauce.
Yeah.
But because it does feel different, but I don't know when I'm in the middle of it when my ego is
right.
Dang, that's true, Christy. That's
it's like, hold up.
Right, it's a little bit like you like, ew. Did I do that?
It's like, whoops. Yeah.
But think about it though. Our ego is literally your will to survive.
Right. So we do need it. We
know it. Like,
and it does give some sort of protection, but it also will keep you closed off too. If
we just need a healthy ego.
Yeah. So
think about a weak ego. It lacks. You're not resilient. Because you're not adaptable. You don't know how to bend. You stick to what's comfortable. You have unrealistic expectations, but hold limiting beliefs. And and they rely on anger or rage to you're gonna show some. Oh, ego, perfect.
I'm gonna get you.
Oh, perfect response to an ego. And I have to. I'm just going. I say this. I've said this many times. When someone says something to you and the first thing that goes to your head, like, who the fuck you think you're talking to?
Ego.
Straight ego.
Ego.
And I know it's a bunch of girls that just laugh right now, like, ooh.
Who do you think you are?
Who? Yo.
Ego.
Hey,
that's who.
Like, and it literally, and it's somebody says something, and you're straight like, first of all, who do you think you're talking to right now?
Who told you?
That's your ego. Like, that is one of the quintessential ego responses.
Yeah.
Whereas your higher self in the same situation, same trigger, if your higher self is balancing it, just be like, okay, that's interesting. Let me see where this is going.
Well, I'm like, what am I supposed to learn from this?
Right. Let me see where this is going.
Mm-hmm. Let me see.
I'm like, okay, let's see what you. Oh, you a lesson or a
I
lesson
got right. I got my antennas up.
Right. Let me just pay attention.
No, that is so true. Yeah.
A weak ego also feels like they have to show people how to love them. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, it's my job to, like, my ego has done a number on me. Now, a strong ego is resilient. You're adaptable. You don't have these unrealistic expectations. You're probably a little more adventurous. But with the strong ego, you're adventurous, but there's still that, let me make sure be out for fear or actual danger, excuse me. That's a strong ego. A strong sense of self-worth. Okay? You can handle a challenge. being able to, you know what, a strong a strong ego is also very good at regulating their emotions.
Yeah, I could. Yep.
Because I can recognize, my ego allows me to recognize there's a trigger right here, but a strong ego makes me go, wait, hold on.
You don't push the button. Hold up.
Right.
Give me 1 second.
Give me 1 second.
I'm feeling some old feelings. I haven't felt this in a minute.
Go like, oh, I think we're being called back up. Come on, y'all. Come on. You need me yet?
Right.
So, yeah. So, I think there are a lot of ways to kind of tell when you're being ego-led as opposed to being led by their higher self. You know, like we talked about not being a victim. Having a victim mentality is very much so an ego-driven thing. Whereas when you're connected to your higher self, you know that you create your own reality. And let me tell you, that's one of them what if, like, because that conversation pisses people off when they start understanding that they created their own reality. Because first, you know, I'm telling you, because you can always blame on somebody else. When you start going, wait, I did choose. Oh, shit. Oh, my. Girl, that's a moment. That's a moment. You're like, you mean the damn.
You raggedy.
You raggedy some of my.
Right. Why would you choose this?
You know, ego believes in scarcity.
Yep.
Like you do feel like
believe in luck.
You know how your ego ego is something where you would compare, but like even in social media now, you'll see somebody do really well or blow up. Your ego is what would make you get scared. Like, oh, maybe I missed my chance, or I should have done this, or I should have done that. That's your ego because you believe there is some scarcity, whereas your higher self knows like there's an abundance.
I had that today.
You know,
I had that moment.
It's like this. It's an abundance, and it's more than enough. It's always enough for me to do me in my time.
Girl,
you know what I mean?
Allergies. What is this?
Girl, oh yeah, it's this time of year. Like I mean, this is when I wake up with the ear itch. Ooh, girl, my nose.
And I was just talking with my daughter. Like, I don't need allergy medicine. I don't take that stuff. You do. Oh, guess what, Christy? You're getting allergies this year. I'm over here rubbing my nose like I do something on the side.
But you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Again, anything that pushes you towards fear, comparison, judgment, or even makes you start to question your ability to grow. Like, I'm crazy, I shouldn't be the ego.
See, ego for me is like anything with myself. You know, when I find myself saying, well, I feel, or you made me feel, or I feel this way, then it's just like, oh, that's my ego.
Oh, girl. Saying, like, this even, like, the getting to the awareness, how crazy it sounds when you say somebody, you made me feel like, because you people say that all the time,
now
you're
it's
arguing. Like,
no,
you did. No, you made me feel like,
no.
Now you like, it's certain stuff I can't even say anymore because I know better.
It's like you let them make you feel
exactly. Like, I don't like that you said that. Now, how I felt about it is my problem, but I don't like that she came out your mouth.
Right. There you go.
So, yes. So, what's the takeaway, Christy?
So the takeaway is, I mean, just like I shared, I don't always know when it's my ego until some time where I'm like, oh, wait. Okay. So, you know, it's okay to not know the difference, but just when it's something where it's serving you or serving your reputation or serving your attitude, if it's all about you, then that's your ego. But shift your, you know, just like we talked about the ego and versus the higher self.
Take that down. Take it off the table.
I'll take it off the table.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry.
But just like we talked about the difference between the ego and the higher self, you know, just realize that your higher self is always going to be for the collective. It's not a selfish thing. It's for all. It's one. So that's what I have to say.
I concur.
What about you? That's not enough.
No, I honestly...
What's your takeaway?
I think that any Just remember this: any conversation that you're having with yourself where you're starting to doubt yourself or believe there's something you can and can't do, that's your ego speaking. Sorry,
Yeah.
it's the pizza.
That is true. All right, so hopefully that makes sense for you guys. And
Yes,
for the
I'm in unit
woman
24.
or the queen who asked that question, thank you so much, because here we are, created an entire episode to this question because we thought that it was just a really good topic for us to discuss. So thank you
it's
so much
10:04,
for
sorry.
coming with
Yes.
the question. Okay, so this week's featured crystal burr, 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 is the Angel Phantom Quartz. So this particular crystal, the element is wind, and it's good for the chakra and the etheric chakra, which is the 8th and beyond, which is above the head. So as the name suggests, this particular crystal attracts the power of angels. And when this crystal contains a phantom, when they say phantom, it means that there's a smaller crystal inside the larger crystal, and that can also be sometimes referred to as a ghost. But these crystals are formed when the growth of a crystal gets interrupted and then it resumes its growth later on. I thought that was cool for me to share. But then crystals like this can help us solve unresolved issues of our past and improve our present life. It can also assist in breaking free from thoughts around guilt, negativity, and blame of the past to help you move forward. Angel Phantom Quartz can help you reach higher levels of consciousness and gives clarity to your soul. And it's known to connect people with the angelic realm, and it brings a divine direction in the life of the wearer. So let's see. One of the really good things with this crystal is that you can set your intentions in the quartz by combining its inner elements. And this crystal also facilitates in accelerating the process of attuning to your higher self, which I thought was a really great characteristic of this crystal. And it helps to bring about a spiritual evolution by allowing you to come out of your past and find a new path in your life. So that is this week's crystal. So Mia actually stepped away quickly, so I'll ask her if she's worked with this crystal. But I have not worked specifically with this crystal. I do have it. I actually have it in my pocket, and it is one of my favorite crystals. Here you go.
Let me see that. Oh.
Like, I love the energy on it.
Wow.
And I've used it with clients, but I haven't used it personally. But have you worked with it before?
No, I have not. I've actually never seen one in person. This is dope, yo. Woohoo! Wait, so you said this happens when what?
When it starts growing,
Ooh.
like the growth gets interrupted and then it starts again.
Ooh. Ooh. This is the energy on this baby is
Right.
This kind of look like, I mean, it kind of looks like bone marrow.
Mm-hmm.
Like that is,
Like this one, like for me, the energy is like fire. It's
yeah. I'm like that's a
yeah. So it's interesting that the element is wind, but I got the energy I got from it was like, oh my gosh, like this is so cool. All right, message for the day. What's
So,
the
you
message
guys-
of the day?
all right. Over and over and over and over and over again, one of the main messages I've been getting is, and I've been saying it to everybody, is time. The reason that so many of us are being awakened during this time is because, people talk about how there's a spiritual war. Well, we're there. If you know what I mean, and I don't want to use the word war to scare people.
Yeah.
But Jay here. But this is where we are, as a collective. And so it's more of we're being asked to choose a side. And this is not a side, this is not a political side. This is so much deeper than that. This is some plates. This is, where do you want to be and what do you want to see? Because you're being awakened to, all of us are being awakened to the fact that we are creators.
Yes.
And that we have the divinity within us. And there's so many things that are breaking down around us that are that's forcing us to look inward. So the main message is, you guys, please, if you feel if you feel like you're being asked to do something, if you feel like you're being moved to do something different, to shake something up, if you feel like this nudge and this pull, if there's any time in your life that you need to pay attention to you, it is now. The healers, the light workers, are the ETs among us are being awakened to who they are and the role that they play in this new world. So when you feel the tingle, the buzz, it's for a reason. If you're listening to this,
that's for a reason too.
There are activation codes in our speech, and there's reason that we're on a microphone. There is a reason. As we go further along this, we understand that there is a reason and a season. So awaken, my loves. That's our message for today.
That's good. And now is the time.
Hey, the time.
Yeah.
Was 6 o'clock on my swatch.
But no, it's true, because there are so many people that I guess I would have never imagined or thought would be in this space, and now they're starting to ask questions and inquire about things, which is like, okay, that's interesting.
It's just there is, and that's another reason why in this process it's very important to me, and I know, and to Christy, we've had these conversations before, that I never want to allow my ego to speak for my spirituality.
Yes.
I remember and I know what it feels like and felt like. I want to remember this. When starting a journey where it was the scariest thing I felt ever. And I know what I feel like now, but I have to, it's part of me to remember that so that I can help those on when they're in that space. I don't ever want to snub down or look down at somebody where they are in their journey. Like, that is the craziest thing on earth to me.
Yeah,
and
we shouldn't. People though in this space too.
Yes,
unfortunately.
and I'm seeing that, and I'm just like, I don't understand how you can truly be open to understanding the divinity in all of us and still judge somebody. You can't. There's
that creation of division again.
Yes,
it's like we already.
And
that
is our ego. That is the human in us. That is we're like classifiers. It's like we sit down here to put things like this is this and this is this, and we do that to ourselves and to other people instead of seeing like. It's like we see the piece. We literally can't see the forest for the trees. When we see trees, we do not understand that we are a forest, a whole forest as one. But we're just looking at like, look at that tree.
She's a little stubby, stumpy,
taking her time growing.
Chumpy.
You see how tall I am, how close I am to the heavens? Trees don't do that.
Right.
That's some human shit.
See, little pine needles are falling out.
That's what you get. So, yeah. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for listening to Queens and Crystal Things. Guys, don't forget to...
And please do send over your questions, your thoughts.
And like, share, and
something
subscribe.
You want us to talk about. Follow us at 2 Queens Crystal Things on IG. Follow my soul sister and podcast partner. I like a little, you know what I mean? Christy, Miss Soul Healer. She got some good stuff coming up, you guys. So we're gonna support our queen. Follow her at Christy R. Edwards, and that's an I-E. Yes. Christy with an I-E.
Starting with the CH.
Edwards. Okay.
Thank
Sounds very defined. Edwards.
Yes. And don't forget to follow Mia, my podcast partner, my soul sister, my sister from another galaxy dimension.
Hey.
So I always talk about her. She is one of the best readers that I've gone to and who I trust. I mean, I say that not because I'm biased.
People do need to be careful about who they trust.
Yeah, you have to.
That's a real fact. I'm like, that's a real thing.
I don't trust my energy with everyone, but I trust her. But she also does amazing Akashic record reading. She does Reiki, sound healing, and she's created her new modality, the Dragonfly. So you can find her on Instagram at Wings Unleashed 444. Peep those angel numbers.
Hey,
That's
wait,
Wings Unleashed.
you guys. So Christy and I did our first.
The sound meditation class.
We did a sound meditation class. Thank you. We did our first sound meditation class at this studio, a yoga studio here in the South Loop called Tejas Yoga.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to be doing that every second Sunday through December, except for next month.
Yeah.
We're going to. Right. Well, so next month we may be the second Sunday, or we may push it back 1 week.
Next month I think is the 17th.
Right. Thank you. The 17th.
Yeah.
It's Christy's birthday, so that week. So we want to let her have some Libra time. You know what I'm saying?
About to be lit. It's about to be lit.
So yes. So if you are in Chicago and want to experience our sound healing meditation class, I had so much fun. The energy was nice, and people definitely relaxed.
Again. Yes, people were relaxed. We won't say how.
People were definitely relaxed. And so we'll probably be looking for some other studios to do this. It's fun. It's a real treat to be out with everybody. All right.
Thank you guys. Light.
Peace, love, and soul. We out here.
Bye, y'all.